Talk about the Titanic and those throwbacks.
The hairdresser's dream. I loved recreating looks. The short Brokeback Mountain men looks. Oh, and then there was also Frida Kahlo. Frida. Venus, you couldn't really see, but Venus' hair was like 50 feet long because once it got in the water, it got a little bit lost. It was like a really long hair that we put on Jules' character because she was Venus. And then Titanic, trying to make Rue look like a dude with a short wig. And then you have Jules with this beautiful red hair. It was just a lot of fun.
Do I know you?
You're the girl I met on New Year's Eve, standing in line for the bathroom.
Oh, God.
Let's start with Maddy, because Maddy's look changes from season 1 to season 2. So how was that approach discussed and how you wanted her hair to be this season?
We had a hair, makeup, wardrobe, creative meeting at the beginning of the show. We discussed what coming into season 2, each character would look like. And Maddy, of course, she's very stylish in her hair and her makeup. I think her look, I would describe it as a little more sleek and 90-ish, definitely inspired by the 90s era when it comes to hair. So like the headband that we did was really big in the 90s, that little accordion type of headband. Of course, we did little baby hair things here and there because that's sort of Maddy's thing. We did a lot of sleek looks, like we used a lot of products like pomades to slick her hair up in little knots, you know, kind of like a modern version of what Bantu knots would be. So I guess it would be more like modern 90s, I would say.
I love that you mentioned the modern 90s because I feel like there were a lot of like 90s references in the show this season that we're also seeing in modern day too. Like, talk about weaving that all in and these styles that we saw.
Well, that was sort of like one of the style references because the 90s is definitely something this generation, Gen Zers, are loving 90s music, 90s fashion. Actually, I began doing hair in the 90s, so it's so funny to see a lot of that stuff come back. We cut Jules' hair this season. The director was like, I want her hair to look like Kurt Cobain. We definitely have Gen Z viewers. And so I felt like that's something trend-wise that was going to definitely be a great lead and coming up with looks and styles for the show.
I don't understand. If you're not auditioning for Oklahoma, then why do you look like that?
Like what? Like a country music star.
In a good way or a bad way? Bitch, you better be joking.
Country Western was big this season. Talk about that.
That was a fun moment. Creative genius Sam Levinson, the director, wrote that into the script, kind of like a funny beat on, she's got this country Western looking hair. Cassie's going through something where she's messing around with her best friend's man and she really wants his attention and to get him to like her. So she goes through this whole phases of trying to reinvent herself because, you know, Maddy's more glamorous and she was not as glam previously. And so she's trying to really get his attention with her hair and her makeup and her clothes. At the end, she goes into this beautiful long blonde Malibu Barbie look. And so that's where that came about.
Can't do this. I'm sorry, Mom, I can't do this.
Let's talk about Zendaya as Rue. How did you work with her hair, not making it look glamorous? Like, what were the challenges of that and what did you do, especially like that's her natural hair that you're working with too. So take us through Rue.
The challenge is to make Zendaya not look glamorous. You know what I mean? She's a beautiful girl. We had to do bare minimum on Rue because, you know, Zendaya has beautiful, naturally curly hair. We use curl products like curl creams, water curl cream. That's basically it. We kind of mixed it. I like to mix curl cream with the water and just kind of, a little leave-in. There's certain techniques that we use, kind of wet it, let it dry natural. But some days she would come in sort of already done because what we didn't want it was to look perfect. And so even though she's still beautiful, we have to really show what she's going through as a character. And that's the one thing about hair can also help tell the story of what's happening. And so we wanted it to not be perfect. Some days she looked like she didn't comb it. And so if she woke up that day and didn't comb her hair, she came in and I was like, perfect, let's go with this. Or she'd be like, I think my hair is perfect. I said, yep, It looks great.
How long do you have per episode, like roughly to come up with the looks?
You know, we prepped, I think, a month before. You do want to have an overall idea what the full season is going to look like when it pertains to each character's hair. So I create a mood board for each person so I can have ideas here and there and things that are mentioned in the script. I'll have like a blueprint for the whole season. Here's a great way to put this hairstyle in. It's like a whole preparation thing for me. And it was definitely part of the storytelling of what, we were doing for Euphoria.